a good digital citizenship, if you will. So I think there is a lot of untapped potential in that front.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to add in the digital literacy as well, because I think a lot. Yes, Manuel.
I'll have to take the fifth, in the American law, the fifth amendment, because I'm a biomedical engineer. So I'm right on the middle. When I listen to your discussion, it's like, okay, I'm an engineer, but also I'm very connected to the human sciences because of the other part of the degree. And one observation is actually we asking the machines, the AI algorithm, to be perfect in a very imperfect world. I'm sure each of you knows unethical people around ourselves. Not to pick on politicians today. And the same with the driving, right? The same. The machines, the AI is already in the stage that will have less accidents on the road than people, but we don't accept that. We want perfection from an imperfect world of humans. So I'm totally enjoying the conversation, and please continue.
I'm just, continuing on what you just said. I think it's quite important, and I think this is probably a bit more a in topic in EU European kind of soul maybe, but just thinking about how much information is being gathered, like through different apps. Just think about like your car is collecting a lot of information, where you're driving, how you're driving. When you kind of turn on your car, your mobile will quite often, the Google Maps will tell you how they will guess where are you driving and tell you how long does it take from home to the office or somewhere else where you tend to go. And basically, so it's there's quite a lot of information. Just thinking about like where do you want to gather data? For instance, if you would like to gather a lot of data around the world on interesting places for someone, I'm not going to say anybody, but why wouldn't you create a game like Pokemon Go? And there are millions of people around the world that are loading images of potentially sensitive places around the globe. And you get a database without a comparison that, like it's updated on a frequent basis, and people are even paying to do that. So it's like there are like so many things where data is important, and how you're handing over data, your personal data everywhere. And this now connected to the AI capabilities. It's where nobody's a foreigner anymore for the kind of information gathering if someone wants to start getting information about you. So this is one of the kind of, me as a lawyer background person, I'm really interested in doing also sustainable business in the way that people's personal rights and privacy is also protected.
Absolutely. And you touch on this kind of digital citizenship, in my opinion, right? From a per individual perspective, and how do we define the border now? How do we define online, offline identity? It was clear before. Now with this digital space, and it's all mixed up, and there's no regulation around that, and it's a lot of space to evolve and to some people take advantage of it, some people leverage it for their business. So thank you for the point.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting how different countries are moving ahead with kind of, now that you mentioned digital citizenship, like it's been really interesting to follow Estonia. They issued this digital citizenship that they are offering with obviously certain criteria. But I think it's amazing how they've been able to develop kind of in a digital manner with the whole country, how things have been built around that capability. So there are a number of opportunities to also use it for the good. And as we know, there are so many people who also use the kind of digital information about people and their identity for bad. And how to make sure that your ID is protected. And I think there, if you mentioned earlier that I have a background in blockchain, I think some of the very much unused potential in blockchain solutions would be around like digital ID. How can you verify your activities online to boost a good digital citizenship, if you will? So I think there is a lot of untapped potential in that front.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to
You
add
know,
in the digital literacy as well, because I think a lot of these things happening today, it's a majority of us, because it just happened so fast and we were living in a pre-industrial kind of dynamic. We're voluntarily giving all of this without even noticing what does it happen to us, right? Like everything you were mentioning, we thought it's just a fun game or it was just a part of the experience. We had a good time. We never thought about everything around it as a from an ethical perspective, from a privacy perspective. So it's a lot of things that can be educated and develop upon.
Absolutely.
I, I see it like, uh, begging the question, are the humans ethical? Are or is the machine unethical? Again, we're going to the question is, when you have a world where there are many unethical people, uh, the machine is a tool, right? AI is still a very sophisticated tool, but it rides on human data, rides on, as you mentioned, right? So the use of data is not up to the AI, it's up to the user, to the human user.
Yes, you can divide it in kind of two different kind of buckets, if you will. I think there's people who want to use the digital tools for bad or unethically, and then there is just how should I malfunctioning kind of digital tools that for some reason haven't been coded, or they are not considering the ethical decisions that the machines are, or whatever gadgets we're talking about, that they are not using, there is not enough ethical coding, so to say, in the machines. So then they do not take that aspect into consideration.
I love corner cases, they call it, right, in engineering. And the great example is how a self-driving car will decide where to crash in milliseconds, right? But I'll give you a modern or a new corner case. AI can reproduce my voice. So let's say it calls a relative and a unethical person will call a relative and say, send $1,000. We have Manuel as hostage here. Send the money. Here is the account, right? And puts me on the phone and says, hey, please help me. I'm caught. It's a dark room. It's cold. It's slushy. A person cannot distinguish. So yes, we cannot program the machines against. Yes, the machines should have a ethical code, hard coded in them, things that they cannot do, recommend how to kill a person, how to make a bomb. But there are soft uncoded things, right? That you know they can reproduce the voice, for instance, and these are features. So you're absolutely right, and I love this conversation about the where the ethical human stops and the ethical machine has to start.
I think it would be great to kind of, get it more tools to ensure that where kind of AI generated pictures of politicians when are being used to cause some chaos or whatever, and I think it's really we have not enough we don't have enough media literate people in the world anyways, and now when it's getting even more and more complicated, it's really difficult to make sure that people understand or question enough the information they are receiving. Earlier you could somehow kind of rely on the media that they were impartial or objective, and I think that is also a topic that has gotten more kind of difficult to understand the concepts, and now when you add like AI generated pictures that are not true into this disinformation, it's really difficult for common people to actually understand what is true and what is not when especially when you're seeking information over the internet. You really can't, unless you're very media literate. Yeah, you really can't know where this information is coming from, whether it's accurate, whether it's intended to do some bad or whatever. And I think there is a lot of work for people who are creating. I don't know how to describe that, but basically tools that would help people to verify what is right, what is wrong, and what are you reading, whether it's true or not, or whether it's maliciously kind of put together. And there I think there is a lot of kind of work to be done, to create tools that will help humankind in ensuring what's right.
Absolutely. And I think we shouldn't wait for AI to have this problem. It had been for a long time. There is a recent book by Yuval Harari, Nexus, which talks exactly about this problem: over information and lack of truth, right? And we don't know how to measure truth. He has examples of witchcraft and so on, and how the printed press proliferated, things that are even in our subcultures today, right? And definitely in the AI machine somewhere, if you ask, can you do witchcraft, probably will tell you yes.
Absolutely.
But this issue, it's uh, I hate to put numbers, but I would say 70-80% human and 20% machine, right? Not to overstate my engineering hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, and it's definitely an interaction of both, and how to make sure that how to manage both sides of the coin, so to say. I think it's really important to understand how the human brain works. And happily enough, mentioning earlier the startups and research based innovations that we're producing, we recently also spun out a company that are creating actually. It's actually, funnily enough, it's a shooting game, but it's meant for tackling mental disorders. It's a very interesting science-based innovation, and I'm hoping that there will be this kind of solutions also coming more and more, where we can use gaming or whatever digitally to help the ever-growing mental problems in the Western world, I would say.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah, I from your bio, I didn't read that part, but we will show that on our description. the mission of the college, the university, Aalto, it's also to improve the social well-being through the innovations from the students, startups, projects. So that's very inspiring because a lot of things we're dealing today is about social well-being. It caused a lot of side effects from the technology development, lack of trust, deep fake, everything we were talking about, create quite a chaos in a society.
Absolutely. And having mentioned that, I think it's interesting that we're kind of tackling also with some research-based ideas or innovations, kind of well-being on motherhood, more safer kind of pregnancy. And I think it's a great advantage that we're able to bring those digital kind of capabilities where kind of, pregnancy is still fairly underdeveloped kind of medical area in the sense that there is a lot of mothers in the world who would very much need safer kind of pregnancy data and how to kind of manage that. So I'm quite happy to see that we have a variety of different ideas and innovations coming out of Aalto University, not just from energy or kind of hard core technologies, but also on the kind of bio and medical side, so that the kind of humankind can have better solutions on the medical side as well.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, that's a very critical area in the flourishing humanity future. Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
so there's a lot of students that you're working with and you've been mentoring, and it's such a blessing and power, by the way, to be able to do that. And the time has changed very fast. Everything is so dynamic. If you could give some advice today to the younger generations, young professionals who are developing their career in sustainability, in the tech industry, for social cause, what would be your piece of advice?
I would say that especially younger students and younger researchers, I think they are in a great position to go and change the world because you don't change the world by going to a large corporation. You if you're a younger student, you're probably still mortgage free and you don't have a four kid family to support. You're more bold when you're at that stage, and kind of young adults, they still have like very high ideology and they are more fearless than people of my age, and I would say that it's the right time to go and save the planet. So if students have any passion, if they think they can sort something out that is wrong in their either smaller thing closer or even one of the wicked problems in the world, I think as a young adult they are the most capable of doing that, and just find the right mentors for yourself, those ones who are boosting you up, the ones who know their thing in a particular topic or field, and just find the right people to bring your competencies up and introduce you to their networks and take leverage of those networks. I would just love to see more and more bold young people to take over and make sure that if some older generations have failed the sustainability angle, it is definitely a potential for the younger generations to pick up from where we have left.
Wonderful. Thank you. Very honest, Jayun. You're the first guest that make it super clear. If you want to change the world, it's not gonna happen in the corporate world. Thank you so much for that message, because we need those honest, blunt message for people to see clear what their path is to really truly make a change in this world.
Absolutely.
Anything to add, Manuel, or?
Yes, actually, I was thinking that I'll pass this message from Anu to our interns. We have about 15 interns working in marketing, in fundraising, in research, in AKFI, all volunteers. And it's a very energizing message. And it's a very direct message, you know. Don't waste your time blaming the baby boomers. What happened, it happened, right? And
Yeah. And that's
take this energy forward, right? So
absolutely, and that I will have to say a huge thank you to our Aalto students because they are the bold ones where I've more or less learned this from because I think they are changing the world. They are being full of energy. They are fully fearless. They have been calling the likes of ex-presidents of the US trying to change the world. No fear, just saying, well, you know, what's the worst that can happen? I'll call them.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Amazing, amazing.
they can use AI today to call.
exactly.
Someone has no trace. You can't trace back. Thank you. Oh, wonderful. Once again, Anun, thank you so much for the amazing insights, stories, real case scenario, and your life story to our audience and your time. Love to have you back. And also thanks to our audience for tuning in. Make sure you joining us every week for a new episode of AKFI's Actionable ESG Talk Series, where you can gain new perspective on how to mitigate risk and create value by integrating ESG and sustainability and digital transformation. Until next week, goodbye for now. Bye, Anun. Bye, Manuel.
Bye.